Then Powell, with a trembling voice, was desperately pleading into the cell phone.
Dad, take us to the hospital. Moms.
I was crouched down due to my water breaking, unable to move from the spot. At such times, the only person a child thinks of is their father. But the reply that came back from Jordan over the phone was cold.
I'm on a company trip, that's impossible.
Jordan said, laughing it off lightly. It's amazing how he can lie so blatantly about a company trip. Help us. Please help. Finally, Powell burst into tears. I felt like my head was going to explode with intense anger. Jordan was speakingly so calmly, even though who abandoned me while my water had broken so calmly. And the nerve to ignore Powell's desperate pleas, I could not forgive him. A week later, having safely given birth, I was getting ready to go out. Then the cell phone rang. It was from Jordan. My hands were tied, so Powell answered the phone for me.
Where's Mom?
Powell said clearly. About to bury her now.
What?
Jordan, flustered.
What do you mean? Hey! Powell!
Ignoring Jordan's cries, Powell hung up the call.
Let's go, Mom.
Yes, let's. We had a task ahead of us. Brianna, took Powell to a certain place. What we were about to do was our modest revenge. My name is Brianna, a 33-year-old housewife, living with my husband Jordan and our 5-year-old son Powell. But each day, after sending Powell to kindergarten and Jordan to his company, my days were filled with endless chores. And once that was done, it was my awaited personal time. I broadcast videos as a hobby. The content is simple recipes and parenting tips, like a housewife's small talk. It started as a pastime, but since Jordan had been on a business trip until recently, I began looking for something to occupy my free time. However, lately, my subscriber count had unexpectedly increased. Parenting and housekeeping life hacks seemed to resonate with my viewers, who are parenting moms too. So even after Jordan returned from his business trip, I continued to broadcast whenever I found the time. Broadcasting videos had become a small joy in my daily life. Then one day, I found out I was pregnant. We had been thinking about having a second child, so this was welcome news. Jordan and Powell were happy too. There were so many things to think about, like what to name the baby, preparing baby clothes. In hindsight, I was probably too excited about being pregnant again after so long. That's why I didn't notice until it was too late. The nightmare eating away at our family had already begun. It was a typical weekend morning. After finishing breakfast, Jordan was fiddling with his cell phone. Powell ran up to him.
Hey, let's play treasure hunt, Dad.
Treasure hunt is one of the games Powell has recently gotten into. We bury a treasure in a random spot, and then Jordan and I look for it. That was the game. It was supposed to be a peaceful weekend as usual. But Jordan, hastily hiding his cell phone and with a raised voice, got angry.
Shut up. Dad's busy. Go away.
Shocked by his tone, I couldn't help but speak up.
Hey, that's no way to talk. I'm dealing with work messages now. Your loud voices are distracting, don't you think? Work messages on a weekend morning? You're just messing around with your phone.
Jordan lashed out even more aggressively at my words.
It's work communication. I'm swamped with work. You get that, right? Or maybe you don't, 'cause you're just a carefree housewife, LOL. What's that supposed to mean?
Jordan snorted and left the room. Perhaps sensing the uneasy atmosphere, Powell started crying. I immediately went to comfort Powell. I'm sorry, Powell. Dad was probably just in a bad mood. But Jordan wasn't like this before. He used to take care of Powell before he went on his business trips. Lately, Jordan's attitude had been clearly off. He sneaked around with his cell phone more frequently. Even when spoken to, he seemed distant. And he complained about me a lot. He belittled me.
You're just a carefree housewife. Our responsibilities are different. I'm a company employee,
he would say. Was it work stress? But Jordan's attitude only escalated. One day, as soon as he came home, Jordan entered the living room with a sour face. Then he glared at Powell's toys scattered in the corner.
Hey, why haven't you cleaned these up?
I had just put away the toys in the box, but it seems I forgot to put one in. Ah, sorry. As I hurried to clean up, Jordan muttered,
Geez, for a housewife, you can't even discipline the kid. Coming home to a messy house when I'm tired from work, try to put yourself in my shoes.
He was being sarcastic again. Don't get mad. Powell, with a voice close to tears, cut in, standing in front of Jordan as if to protect me. But Jordan, with a dismissive look, and his face more somber,
Move.
He then glared at Powell and then, with a click of his tongue, left the room. His recent behavior is too much. We need to have a proper talk soon, I vowed in my heart as I hugged Powell, who was crying. The next night, Jordan came home. Jordan, I need to talk to you.
I'm tired, make it quick.
His attitude was dismissive as ever. I started regardless. About your attitude lately. As I began to speak, Jordan raised his voice over mine.
I'll be going on a company trip for 2 weeks, starting next week. What? That's sudden. And for 2 weeks? Yeah, it's more like a trip where the bosses are targeting new clients, kind of a work thing with a bit of sightseeing. Really a hassle being dragged into this.
I see.
I don't need dinner tonight. Good night. Wait. There's still.
Jordan ignored me and quickly went into the bedroom. We used to chat over a light drink after Powell went to bed. But now, there's no hint of such an atmosphere. Jordan locked the bedroom door, not letting anyone in. I sighed, then finished the remaining chores and turned on my computer. I worked on editing a video I had recorded, combining it with narration. It's video editing that I always do. Previously, it was simple household tips, but lately, it's been mostly about Jordan. I created a series about troubles with my husband, and would say things like, "It feels like my husband has become colder recently." Such content seems to be in demand, with more views than before. Today, I also briefly mentioned my interaction with Jordan earlier. After posting the video, comments started trickling in.
Your husband is terrible. He doesn't understand the wife's struggles.
Receiving empathetic comments somehow calmed my feelings. But a particular comment caught my eye.
A sudden company trip? Isn't that an alibi for cheating?
Cheating. I had a faint suspicion, but I was trying not to acknowledge it. I wonder if that's really it. Jordan's recent behavior is filled with inexplicable actions. Carrying an unresolved feeling, I was doing household chores when one day, I was searching for receipts to manage the household budget. Let's see, it should be around here somewhere. After searching everywhere without finding it, I decided to check inside a small chest in the living room, though not expecting much. It's supposed to contain things related to Powell's kindergarten stuff, but maybe something got put in there by mistake. Then, the bottom of the first drawer came off.
What's this?
It was a fake drawer. This chest wasn't made like this originally. Someone had tampered with one of the drawers, make it hard to find. It wasn't me. So, it had to be Jordan. A bad feeling washed over me as I looked inside and saw something familiar.
This is...
My heart pounded like a fast drum. After calming myself with a deep breath, I turned on the computer. I decided to urgently post a video. I wanted to hear the viewers' opinions about what I had just found. I had my suspicions, but I needed confirmation. After a while, comments poured in. Reading them, I realized my suspicions were not unfounded. The week started, and it was Monday. Jordan would be away for a while. On the company trip.
Okay then.
Powell was at kindergarten, and Jordan wouldn't be coming home. Taking advantage of this, I decided to take action. And then the weekend. I was almost ready for whatever happened when Jordan returned. Thinking this, I was doing household chores one morning when suddenly, my stomach hurt. At the same time, I felt a warm flow of fluid down my lower body.
Did my water break?
I need to go to the hospital immediately. As labor pains surged, I hurried to get dressed in between contractions. Then, I packed my bag with my insurance card, a change of clothes, towels, and other necessities. Then, a strong pain hit. I could still move, somehow. That's what I thought, but the pain was so intense I collapsed right there. I tried to find my cell phone to call a cab, but it was nowhere in sight. Mom? Powell woke up amidst this. Powell, my cell phone. I pleaded desperately, barely able to speak. Powell, surprised by my state, found my cell phone nearby and picked it up. Then, as if making up his mind, he frantically began to operate it. He occasionally plays games on my cell phone, so he seems to know how to use it. Powell yells into the phone.
Help! Mom can't move. She's in pain.
It seems he's on a call with someone. The call was on speakerphone by chance, allowing me to hear the other person's voice.
Ugh, what is it, Brianna? This is not a good time. Is that you? Powell?
Of all people, Jordan was on the other end.
Dad, take us to the hospital.
Powell pleaded desperately. At such times, the only person a child could think of is their father. But the reply that came back from Jordan was cold.
I'm on a company trip, so that's impossible.
Jordan laughed it off lightly. Help us. Please help. Finally, Powell started crying. Amidst the intense pain, I felt unforgivable. It seemed like he didn't care that I was suffering. To top it off, he easily ignored Powell's desperate pleas. I couldn't stand his nerve. After crying, Powell hung up and called someone else.
Grandma! Grandma! Powell? What's wrong?
It seems Powell managed to call my mother with his unsteady fingers. After that, I lost consciousness due to the pain. When I came to, I was in the hospital. I was lying in bed, with my parents looking over me, worried. As I regained consciousness, the pain came rushing back. I grimaced involuntarily. Brianna, are you okay? Powell called us. He was desperate, saying his mom couldn't move. Powell had seemed to be frantic, but had fallen asleep exhausted earlier. My mom told me they had left him in the hospital's daycare.
Upon hearing Powell's call, we arranged for an ambulance, my dad said.
He's brave, and he's only 5 years old. My mom remarked with emotion.
By the way, we couldn't get in touch with Jordan.
My dad sighed. It seems my parents tried calling Jordan as well, but to no avail. They were told he was on a company trip, but of course, that was unlikely. He was probably enjoying himself. I seethed quietly with anger. This won't end here. But I had more pressing matters to attend to first. After my parents left the room, doctors and nurses came in to prepare for childbirth. Hours later, after battling labor pains, I gave birth to a girl. Her name is Lena. Hearing Lena's healthy cries, perhaps I was released from the tension I had been holding. I fell asleep. I woke up a whole day later. Thanks to the sleep, I felt slightly better. I reluctantly sent Jordan a message about the birth. But no reply came. Driven by desires, he probably had no thoughts of his wife and child. Expected as it was infuriating. But after his enjoyable company trip, he was in for a hellish return. Imagining Jordan's face then, I smirked maliciously. Thanks to my parents' care, I recovered enough to tease Jordan about it. On the day of discharge, Powell, who had been staying with my grandparents, joined us.
Hey Mom, are you all better?
Powell looked at me worriedly. Yeah, I'm okay now. I responded with a smile. I had caused him so much anxiety recently. I hugged Powell and stroked his head.
Hey, let's play treasure hunt again sometime.
Powell suggested with an innocent face. Sure. What shall we bury this time?
Well,
he whispered secretly in my ear. Hearing his words, I was at a loss for words, shocked. A week later, my cell phone rang.
Mom, your phone's ringing.
Powell called out to me. as I was getting ready to go out. "Leave it, I can't answer right now," I replied. But he answered the call, staring at the screen. A muffled male voice could be heard from afar. The call seemed to be from Jordan.
Hey, Brianna. Oh, is that you, Powell? I'm coming home tomorrow. Where's Mom?
About to bury her now.
Huh?
Jordan's voice sounded foolish.
What do you mean? Hey, Powell. Come on, let's go, Powell.
I spoke to Powell, and with a smile, he replied and hung up the call. We had a task ahead of us. I went out with Powell to do a certain job. By the time we returned home, the day had turned to night. My postpartum body was completely exhausted. Since Powell had fallen asleep tired, I left him along with Lena at my parents' house, who lived nearby. There was still something left for me to do. I decided to wait for Jordan's return. Early the next morning, the entrance door burst open energetically.
Brianna! Hey, where are you?
Jordan entered the living room with a panicked face, alternating his gaze between me and a chest in the corner, hesitating about what to do. I smiled.
You're late, Jordan. I finished burying it yesterday. What? What are you talking about? Powell said something about burying too. The ring.
At my words, Jordan turned pale.
I know about the ring that was there. Were you planning to propose to your mistress with it? It even had your names engraved on it, so consider it.
When I pointed at the chest, Jordan turned even paler.
How you?
I knew everything. It all started with the video streaming. When I talked about Jordan's recent odd behavior in a video, viewers suggested he might be cheating. Then, the ring emerged from the false chest drawer. A brand new ring from a famous brand, engraved with both names. This had to be proof. After discussing this in a video, viewers advised using a detective. If I was considering divorce, solid evidence would mean compensation. After Jordan left for his company trip, I hired an investigator. Sure enough, Jordan was having an affair. The woman worked at a bar in the town where Jordan had been on a business trip. Her name was Flory, 23. Perhaps out of loneliness, Jordan started visiting the bar. Eventually, they became romantically involved. This might have been a common story. Usually, such relationships end when the business trip is over. But theirs continued. Even after Jordan returned, they kept in touch secretly. He started to snap at me. Then, under the guise of a company trip, he went back to his old posting to frolic with her. The ring was indeed intended for a proposal to her. How deeply he must have fallen for her. Proposing to another woman while having a wife and child is laughable.
Did you rush back because you gave the wrong ring to your mistress and she got mad?
Jordan's complexion changed at my words.
So you do that to the ring?
Yes, I swapped the ring hidden in that chest. Assuming he would give it to his mistress during the trip, I replaced it with my own wedding ring. It was a gift from Jordan in the past. But I no longer needed such a thing.
What have you done? The ring size is wrong, and it has your name on it. Flory was furious. I don't know anything about that.
Jordan forcefully opened the chest, searching thoroughly.
Where's the real ring? Where did you hide it? I told you, I buried it. What?
At my words, Jordan was at a loss for words. Right then, the entrance door opened.
Jordan, are you okay? Isn't it over yet? Idiot! Don't come out.
There stood Flory. I had seen her face in photos given by the detective. But the real person was just a flashy young woman. She had followed Jordan, likely upset over receiving a ring with the wrong name. Jordan must have told her.
It's at home.
But unable to stay put, Flory decided to follow. Such a foolish story came to mind. This is Jordan's wife? Just an old lady. She laughed derisively, thinking she could win with her youth. The shallowness made me sigh involuntarily.
Oh, the Mistress Flory. Right, quit vocational school for money to play, ended up working at a cheap bar. But couldn't catch a wealthy man, So you settled for a married company employee going nowhere, feeling triumphant over his wife. Is that about right, Flory? Wah!
Flory was at a loss for words, hit right on the mark. I had already investigated all of this. In today's age, it's easy to find someone's social media once you know their name. Someone as attention-seeking and spirited as Flory would surely have boasted about her history somewhere. That thought led me to check her social media, and Flory's background was quickly uncovered. Flory became defiant.
So what? I'm the one Jordan loves. He proposed to me, and I got the ring I wanted. Just divorce him already. I was planning to divorce him anyway. I don't need someone like him.
I had been married to Jordan for 5 years. We were blessed with children. But his cheating during his business trips, his indifference during my pregnancy, and finally, his treatment of Powell and I. There was no point in continuing this marriage after such actions. Ever since the affair came to light, I had already decided to leave him.
By the way, aren't you going to look for that very important ring? Where did you hide it? Well, that's not nice to say I hid it. Today, Powell and I went for a walk on the beach for the first time in a while. We played a treasure hunt there. It was so much fun.
Jordan's complexion changed at my words.
You didn't bury it there, did you?
Jordan muttered tremblingly, and then dashed outside.
Wait, Jordan, where are you going?
Flory followed him. I too stepped outside from the entrance. It's about a 20-minute walk to the place where we buried it. Holding my cell phone tightly, I walked briskly. We were headed to the nearby beach. Upon arrival, the two of them were frantically digging around various spots on the sandy beach.
It's not here either. Where is it? Damn it. It's an expensive ring. What are you doing? Find it quickly.
The two looked foolishly panicked. I leisurely filmed the scene with my cell phone. Jordan and Flory were so focused on their search that they didn't notice me filming them from a distance. I couldn't help but let out a laugh at the comical sight. This beach was a place our family of 3 often visited. We frequently played treasure hunt here. Powell would bury treasures in the sand, and Jordan and I then had to find. The treasures varied, but they were mostly things Powell treasured. Toy cars, plastic dinosaurs, things a boy would like. But today, what was buried was the real ring Jordan intended to give to Flory. When Powell suggested,
"Let's play treasure hunt. We haven't played in such a long time."
And I asked, "What shall we bury?" He immediately said,
"A ring."
I was taken aback, to which Powell responded, "I know, Mom. Dad's been looking at a ring and smiling recently."
What are you talking about?
Powell had been watching Jordan closely. No doubt Jordan had been fantasizing about his mistress with the ring he splurged on.
That ring is important to Dad, right? If we bury it, maybe he'll come back to find it. Maybe he'll return to being the dad he used to be.
Powell said, his eyes shining. Powell didn't understand. He didn't realize the ring was meant for someone else. Because his father seemed happy with it, he must have thought it was very important. He hoped that finding it would bring back the kind father he knew recently. Powell's innocent hope touched my heart. And so, we buried the ring in the sand earlier. But Jordan, now desperately searching for the ring, wasn't thinking about his family at all. He was solely focused on not upsetting Flory. As I recorded the scene, I realized I was crying. I couldn't forgive Jordan for destroying our family. It's a harsh reality for Powell, but Jordan will likely never return to how he was. Afterward, I went home to edit the footage. The video of them desperately searching for the ring turned out humorously. Thanks to the sound recording app, I captured the audio perfectly. I blurred the faces of the two and added narration. The history of our family and the treasure hunts Powell enjoyed. And how Jordan's selfish affair led to the family's downfall. Of course, all names were kept anonymous. I finished the video and clicked upload.
"I buried the ring my husband intended to give to his mistress,"
was the title. Immediately after posting, the views started to rise rapidly. Comments poured in within moments.
Your husband is the worst.
Poor children. Were mostly comments condemning Jordan and Flory. As I was reading through the comments, the exhausted duo returned.
We finally found it, buried in such a beach. Our precious ring got all dirty with sand. How are you going to make up for this?
The two were loudly complaining. Jordan was holding the sand-covered ring and a tattered piece of paper.
This paper was buried with it too. It's so dirty.
He carelessly threw it into the trash can.
Don't you understand?
I looked at Jordan coldly. I took the paper out of the trash and spread it open. It was crumpled, but it was a drawing by Powell. A picture of a family of 4, all smiling. It seemed he finally realized what was drawn. Jordan's face showed a mix of emotions.
This is Powell's feelings. You trampled on Powell's wish for his family to be happy by sneaking around and cheating, neglecting your family. You are truly the lowest of the low. I will never forgive you.
The living room fell silent at my loud voice. Flory had a guilty look on her face. I turned to Flory and said,
I won't forgive you either. You break someone's home and stand there as if nothing happened. I will fight against someone who hurts children. Until the end.
I declared this and glared at them.
Where's Powell? What about the baby?
Jordan spoke in a hoarse voice. It seemed he finally decided to pay attention to his children. But it was too late.
They're at my parents'. And until a moment ago, it was all about the ring, ignoring both Powell and the baby. How dare you even bring them up now? Well, it doesn't matter. You won't be seeing them anymore. That's outrageous. I'm their father. Father? After neglecting your children and being busy with your affairs, you think you still have the right? I don't want to see your faces ever again. Get out.
Overwhelmed by my fury, the two were clearly frightened.
Let's go, Jordan. Okay, I'll leave for now. Brianna, I'll contact you once you've calmed down.
Jordan and Flory awkwardly backed out of the house and left. This would lead to discussions about divorce. I was determined not to lose. I clenched my fist as if to gather my resolve. Eventually, the divorce was finalized after some time. Despite Jordan's cooled head and his wish to reconcile, I ignored him. It was likely just a momentary lapse. He would cheat again, it was obvious. Despite talking about reconciling with me, he started living with Flory. He wanted to maintain relations with both me and Flory, and also appear as a good father to Powell and Lena. There was no way I would allow that. Of course, I demanded a hefty compensation. Jordan desperately asked to pay in installments, but I refused. I demanded a lump sum. There was a concern. The video I uploaded went viral beyond expectation. It was viewed millions of times and spread across various media. Though I blurred everyone's faces, some viewers are skilled at identifying individuals. From the beach scene to reflections in the window glass, Jordan and Flory were identified.
Lowest husband Jordan works at South Commerce. Flory, the mistress, is a bartender. She has a history of targeting married clients.
Articles like these were created one after another. Once it started, there was no stopping. Jordan's actions became known to his company. Apparently, his work had been neglected because he was frequenting Flory's place during his business trips. He was sent back to this branch for that reason. Moreover, he had used up all his paid leave when he falsely claimed to be on a company trip to Flory's place. He had lied to the company about being sick and got it treated as an absence. Naturally, Jordan was fired. Without his salary, there would be no income. It was a good thing I collected the compensation beforehand. Then there's the child support. This was a concern, but Jordan's parents agreed to pay until Jordan found a new job. Given that Jordan's name had become widely known, it'll likely be a while before he can find re-employment. This is his own doing. I also filed for compensation from Flory, but she had quit her job at the bar and wasn't working. In a panic, Flory convinced Jordan to start streaming couple videos together. They filmed their daily life as a couple, but this only added fuel to the fire.
Couple of thieves, the worst. Shameless. Thick-skinned LOL unbelievable couple.
They were criticized one after another and soon stopped streaming. They must have thought it was easy after seeing my video. Trying to earn money without any thought or plan was bound to fail. Eventually, Flory's parents paid the compensation. But they told her,
"This is the last time we take care of you."
It seems they had given up on her. Jordan had been relying on her, but their attempt at couple videos failing led to constant arguing. And they broke up surprisingly easily. I was mused that their bond was shallow. Initially, Jordan was thrilled to be liked by someone younger, and Flory, for her part, enjoyed the thrill of a forbidden romance. But once the magic wore off, all that awaited was reality. The price they paid for a moment of passion was significant. Meanwhile, my channel skyrocketed in popularity. I received so many inquiries from moms dealing with cheating spouses and was swamped with work. I started getting offers from companies and became active as an influencer. Streaming videos became so enjoyable, and the comments from viewers brightened my days. My income, which was once minimal, surged. With the money, I renovated and expanded my parents' house. Now, the 5 of us, including my parents and children, live there. My parents are happy to see their grandchildren up close. Powell has grown into a sturdy older brother. And Lena is growing up healthy, playing happily with Powell each day. However, there was one concern. I hadn't let Jordan see the kids since then. Of course, I hadn't told them about the ugly adult situations, but I wondered if Powell was truly okay with it. To my surprise, Powell was nonchalant about it.
"Oh, Dad? It's okay. He didn't help you, Mom, when you were suffering. We don't need someone like that."
His clear words surprised me. No matter how young, children observe their parents closely.
"From now on, I'll play treasure hunt with Lena,"
Powell said with an innocent smile. I felt truly relieved. Jordan was gone, but in his place, Lena had come into our lives. Seeing the children's lively faces, this joy is irreplaceable. Now, if we could continue to live happily as a family, that would be my greatest happiness.